Hello, today's video is going to be looking at AI enhancing video. Now, this has been a thing of Hollywood magic for the last 20 or so years. Some gruffly man with a beard usually, or some scar on his forehead, tells the dweeby looking man with the glasses, "Can we enhance it?" And then he just hits one button and then all of a sudden you've got this pixelated CCTV footage looking like an IMAX camera. Now, that was just movie magic, of course, well, that and it being a load of rubbish, but slowly but surely, technology like that has actually become a reality. It's still somewhat early days and it has somewhat limited uses, but as the technology gets better, this stuff is probably going to become more common than we actually expect it. As technology like this gets better and smarter, the possibilities of it are somewhat endless. But obviously it's still early days, it's only 2020. Yay. But for a 32-day trial, you can get what I believe to be a little bit of the future. And so that's what I was doing last night for quite a number of hours. I tried enhancing, AI enhancing I should say, which still feels a little bit space age to me. I tried AI enhancing some VX1000 footage. Now, obviously I could have just chucked some VHS footage in there, or even maybe some downloaded web clips, but I wanted to give it its best bet. Raw DV footage, upscaling, or AI enhancing, to 1080p. So, before I get into the comparison and all that stuff, I want to quickly show you the software itself. So I'm going to just cut to my laptop right now, where I've got OBS running. So it's called Topaz Video Enhance AI. It's a 2 GB download, and if you haven't got a fast enough computer for it, maybe don't bother downloading it. I mean, my computer's not that fast in comparison to some other people's computers. It's a 16 GB i5 7th gen laptop. If you've got a high-end PC or a high-end Mac, then you'll probably be okay running it, but anything I'd say below 8 GB of RAM and like an older CPU, then just get a better computer and then consider it. So the software's relatively simple to use. As you can see, it's quite clean and nice, so you can just, so yeah, you've got file, preview, process, help and stuff. Now, you get a 32-day trial with this, and you have to make an account, which is a bit annoying, but you know, it's not the end of the world. However, if you think this software is perfect for you and for your project, be willing to get your wallet out and spend around £200 to £300. I can't remember if it's 200 or 300. I will put a little annotation there. So I'm going to quickly run you through how you use this software and just how easy it is to actually use. So you click on the box, go and find some footage. Let's say this one here. So what I'm going to quickly do is give you a demonstration on what you'll need to do if you want to AI enhance some standard def footage. So I've got some VX1000 footage here, unenhanced as you can see. So you can either do the whole thing, which maybe you want to do, or maybe you just want to do a small section. So you can just type in, say, let's do frame 145, and then you can do 767, something like that. And then it will only do that point. It's just like setting in and out points in your timeline and then rendering out some effects. But I want to do the whole thing in this example. 893. So after you've set your in and out point, shall we say, you're going to want to go to AI models. Now you've got about you've got 6 options, but people have been recommending that you use Gaia or Gia, CG, P, CG, HQ. Now, there have been some tests between HQ and then Artemis and Thea, I believe it's pronounced. However, those have yielded less, well, not as good results. So you want to use CG. Now, here comes the settings of like what resolution and stuff like that. So you can either set it to go actually lower than regular standard def to 640 by 480. Then you got 768 by 576. Then you got 720p, 1080p, 4K, and ridiculously 8K. Now, anything above HD is completely pointless. it really kind of struggles. If you're doing SD to HD, works great. It does a really good job. If you're doing SD to 8K, you may need Jesus, and also just don't do it. It will take, well, at least on my computer, it would take literally days to do a 10-second clip. So don't bother with it. Just do SD to HD, and then if you really need to, HD to 4K. Anything else is just kind of ridiculous. So let's set it to 1080p. Unclick crop to fill, and there you go, you got the full thing. Now, in earlier versions of this, you didn't actually get to choose what kind of output it would do, also, I believe. But now you've got MPEG-4, JPEG video, PNG, TIFFs, I guess, you know, sequence files or whatever. But I'm going to go with MPEG-4 video just because it's easier to work with. Then you've got bitrate. So this was DV video, so I'm going to just go with 30. Just call it whatever. AI enhance this. Oh yeah, I can't do that. And then that's pretty much it. You just hit process and start processing. Then leave the computer for however long it takes. Because I set this running with a batch of 3 clips last night before I went to sleep, and I'll actually cut in some footage of that whole thing now. So I've set a batch process up of 3 more clips. This is going to take probably all night. It's about 2 AM right now. I'm about to go to sleep. Yeah, and I'm just going to have to leave my computer on all night and wait till the morning till it's done. But I am quite excited to see the results. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit nervous. This laptop likes to get very, very, very warm when it's processing and rendering and all that stuff. And if I'm going to have to leave this for at least, 4.5 hours or something, may have to put it on its side so at least it can get some air going to it. But whilst doing that, I'm constantly aware that even just like a small shake and it'll just fall over and snap in half, and then, well, let's just say I will not be the happiest person on earth. I mean, you can hear it, hang on. I'm sure you can hear that. I don't know, I don't like putting it on its side because it's like... Where's the ventilation? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, that's warm. Oh, that's toasty. Right, hang on. Right, so as long as the screensaver doesn't fuck it, we're up to 1 hour and 45 minutes. There we go. Seems okay. That is some heat. And it's usually the hottest about here. That's warm to the touch, that is. That's really nice and toasty. It feels so flimsy. Right, I'm going to leave that like that. And hopefully it doesn't catch fire, fall, or anything like that. So amazingly, my laptop didn't melt, but as you could see, it was going to take at least 5 hours to do 3 clips into HD. Now, when I woke up this morning, I planned on doing HD clips to 4K, just to find out what the the time would be, and it was looking at 2.5 hours for a 20-second clip. So, unless you've got a fast enough computer, stick to SD to HD. It's a much more reasonable thing to do. You probably won't be putting full lines in this if you make skate videos. You'll probably just be putting single tricks in. But that's basically it. That's how you use the software. I'm sure there's going to be other things you can do and some more things, but if you just really quickly want to enhance your footage, this is how you do it. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on to the thing people have been wanting to see. The comparison between raw DV video and enhanced DV video. Right, let's have a quick squiz, shall we? So I've got my AI enhanced folder right here. So I gave it a variety of samples to use. I've got one here with lots of trees, and then there's some lens flare coming in, and there's actually a bug on the lens in this clip, so I wanted to see what it might do with that one. Then there's this clip here, which was ever so slightly out of focus. When Joe starts coming closer to the camera, it actually brings him into focus, but the background is actually out of focus, just a tad. And I wanted to see how it would deal with that, if it would try and enhance the out of focus and kind of mess up a bit. Then we've just got a regular clip of Sean doing something at Chester Skate Park. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the original DV video, and then we're going to watch the AI enhanced version. Now, I am screen capturing this at the moment, and of course that's going to be compressed and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in the actual clip themselves, and then it won't be compressed and it won't have some weird artifacts from the screen capture software. So what you'll be seeing is as high quality as I'll be seeing it, if you get where I'm coming from, just to make this as fair as possible. So let's start off with this one here. This is of Sean, I believe. Here we go. Ooh, nice. It's your standard DV video, you know, nothing too snazzy there. It looks good, you know, it's VX footage at the end of the day. Right, now let's have a look at the AI enhanced version of that clip. Yeah, oh wow. That looks a lot cleaner. Yeah, that looks so much cleaner. It just, with the original DV footage, it looked a little bit kind of grainy, I want to say, like especially in the shadows. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, it looks, it kind of pops it a little bit. If that's the right word. It kind of makes the image pop a little bit. Not like, you know, saturation or anything, but it actually makes the footage stand out a little bit more. It does look better. I'm actually shocked. Once more, I just want to see it once more. That does look much better. Okay, I just need to see the original once more, just to kind of get an idea of what we're working with here. Okay. It looks mushy. It kind of... I mean, it's good quality DV, but it just looks a bit meh, you know. And I have the sharpness up in the camera, and it is in focus. That is shocking. I'm kind of stunned by that. Right, let's go to the first one I did. Now, this is going to be a clip of Shay in Bolton. Let's have a look at this one, the original DV one. Now, this will be interesting because there's fences in the background, there's buildings, so we'll see how well it does. Okay. So that's the original DV one. Let's have a look at the AI enhanced one. Oh yeah. Clear as day, about 1,000 times better. It looks how we all imagined VX1000 footage looked.
Ooh, damn.
Not exactly full HD, but a lot cleaner than that. That looks ridiculously better. That just looks so much better. Yeah, that looks so much better. I'm getting annoyed because it probably means I'm going to have to start AI enhancing all my VX1000 footage.
Ooh.
Damn. Let's have a look at the clip of Johnny at Chester Skate Park. Now, this will be an interesting one because there's a bug on the lens, so that might throw the AI off a little bit. And then there's trees in the background, and then there's lens flare, which I'm sure some people might be concerned about because, you know, oh, it might throw it off or something like that. So here is the original DV footage. Looks okay, you know, your standard DV footage. There's the bug as well. Peachy. There you go. Now, before anyone has a go, oh, well, hang on a minute, this is slow mode, it's compressed. It isn't actually compressed. This is at 300,000 megabits a second, even though it's clearly just 30 megabits per second. So this is as uncompressed as it can be. Obviously, I could have done it with raw DV. However, I would still have to go in and then de-interlace it, which I'll get to that in just a moment. So that was the DV footage, the unenhanced one. Let's have a look at the enhanced one. It's like night, it's clear, it's night and day. It's night and day. It looks, I mean, it looks sharper. It looks much better. Like on the sleeve, you could see much more detail. Let's have a look at that once more. I don't know what to tell you, honestly. I'm stunned. I mean, it's not like, oh my god, 4K, LSD trip kind of quality, but it's doing something, and it looks quite a bit better. To me, this is substantial. Maybe to other people, I was like, oh, it doesn't look good enough, but considering this is still relatively early days, it looks pretty good. Right, so that was that one. Now, this is the one I will be most interested to see, because this one, I unfortunately had it a little bit out of focus. It's a clip of Joe in Bolton doing a ridiculous line. Let's have a quick look at that. Raw DV. He was only supposed to do the first trick, I think. As you can see, when he gets closer, it comes into focus, and then as he gets further away, it goes out a little bit. It doesn't look terrible. It's not like completely thrown out of focus, but it's noticeable to me and maybe to some other people. Now let's have a look at the AI enhanced version of that clip. Oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah. It just looks more pleasing. Now, it hasn't, brought the image back into focus. It's not that smart yet, but it has certainly made it a lot better. I'm kind of shocked, actually. I'm actually baffled by that. It just looks better. Let's have a look at it once more. Obviously, it would have been better if it was in focus when it started, but... honest, I'm stunned. Utterly stunned. I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked. Well, in my opinion, I'd say that's a night and day difference. It's clearly improved the footage, or at least the quality of it. Now, it's up to you whether or not this works for you, if you think it's even worth doing it. Some people might like the lo-fi, low-res to the VX1000 footage, but if you still want to get the sound, the colours and the fisheye, but you just want to improve the quality just a bit, this might not be a terrible thing to use. I'll let you make a decision in the comments below, because in my opinion, this is great. I can't afford to pay £200, £300 for the full software, but I think for the time being, I may have to use this a few more times because I'm genuinely impressed by it. Now, I'm not paid by these people. This isn't like a promo for them. This is a genuine review of this. This is genuinely looking at the footage and comparing it with the original. And from what I can see right now, at least with SD to HD, it's clear, it's obvious this is a good bit of software. I was going to do some HD, I was going to do some 720 to 1080, but I didn't have the time to do that. I don't have like a whole 10 hours to just wait and let this thing process. But a majority of my viewers are going to be VX1000 or SD filmers, so this is mainly going to be for them, and I think the SD to HD is night and day. Now, I should mention you can't just throw any old DV clip into there. It needs to be progressive. If you throw raw interlaced footage into it, it starts trying to fix the interlacing or enhancing it. And so when you get some interlacing lines, it tries to enhance it and it can actually make the image look worse. So what I would recommend doing is, if you want to enhance your clips, batch render all your clips into a raw AVI at 50 frames per second, 30 megabits per second, throw them all into Topaz, and then just let them enhance. That's what I'd recommend. Don't try throw raw clips into it because it won't work and it'll just look terrible. Now, this doesn't just have to be used for skateboarding. You can use this on documentaries, for instance. Say you've got a lot of archived footage from DV, Betamax, Digibeta, or whatever, and you want to enhance it and just make it look better in a 1080 timeline. I'd say this is definitely a piece of software you should go and purchase because it makes clearly a night and day difference. Now, I just want to throw my 2 cents in just to end the video off on AI and where it's going in the future. Personally, now obviously I'm not a tech analyst or anything like that, but where I see this technology going is inbuilt into video editing software. I can imagine in the next 5 or so years, you bring in some DV footage into a 1080 or a 4K timeline, and you just hit 1 or 2 buttons and it does it within the software. That's where I see this technology going, inbuilt into software. And that will change a lot of things. Because at the moment, you have to add an extra thing to your workflow because you'd have to de-interlace your footage, bring it in, AI enhance it, then bring it out. And it just adds a bit more time to it. I can see it in a couple of years' time, you're working on a project, it's got a bunch of unenhanced video in the timeline, and you just highlight it with your mouse and then click 1 or 2 things, and then that's it. It just sets off, and then 20 minutes later, maybe even shorter, depending on how fast it gets, your DV footage enhanced. Leave a comment down below if you notice anything different in the footage, if it looks better or anything like that. Anyway, I'm going to get going, so thank you for watching this, and I'll hopefully see you later.